Councilmember Lawson. We're going to go ahead and get underway. We have a good agenda today, and it's going to be quick. So thank you everyone for being here today. First thing, welcome. Thank you for your kind attention here. Let's do the approval of the minutes. Councilmember Lawson, do you have any changes, additions, or deletions to the agenda or to the minutes?
No changes, and I approve them moving forward.
Let's move forward then. Any items, any consent items that I'm not aware of? Okay, seeing none, we'll jump right into the general business. Let's go to the Aerotropolis. Aerotropolis. Try to say that 3 times. All righty. Who is our presenter today?
Matt Hopper. Yes.
Yes, sir.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Madam Chair and members of the committee. It's our pleasure to be here today to give you an update on the Aerotropolis Regional Transportation Authority. We wanted to provide you with a little bit of background for some of the newer members. And some of the members like Councilwoman Lawson was there in the beginning when we started this and was very helpful in the formation of ARTA. But ARTA was formed in 2018 as part of an IGA. The IGA was a partnership between the City of Aurora, Adams County, and the Aerotropolis area metropolitan districts. So those are the districts that represent the area just south of the Denver International Airport, north of I-70, from Tower Road to Monahan Road. And so that general area.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
So again, it was formed in September of 2018 by the execution of those documents. The goal of ARTA was to oversee the design, construction, and financing of critical infrastructure required for the economic development in that corridor. There was a study that was commissioned by the federal government, the City of Aurora, the state of Colorado, as well as CDOT, to really look at the transportation needs in the Aerotropolis area. And what it identified was there was approximately 21,000 acres in Adams County and the City of Aurora that was primed for development. And the only thing that really kept us from being able to develop in those areas was the lack of transportation. And generally what you would see, as you all know, when you look at corridors, especially greenfield corridors, is that those get built in kind of a patch quilt kind of construction. So as development occurs in Haley's development, she will build the first quarter mile of road, and then Mac might build the next quarter mile, and so on. And the property owners on the east side of the road are responsible for a portion of the road. Those on the west are responsible for the west side of the road. And someday in the future, when Mac runs his calculations and he finds out that the capacities require it, then the regional component is constructed. And so if you think about that on a 6-lane road, 2 lanes being constructed with the property owner on the west, 2 lanes on the east, the capacity lanes getting constructed someday in the future. Problem with that is there's never financing for that, right? There's not funds available to add those capacity lanes. And so we see the traffic that we all endure every day. And so the thought behind the Regional Transportation Authority was if we could construct those regional components of the road prior to the developments occurring, that would stimulate economic development in those corridors. And then it did not relieve the property owners of a proportionate share of the road, but there was a road for them to develop off of, which then allowed for economic development, jobs creation to occur, and then those roads would be built out. What we found is that ARTA has been very successful, and most of the property owners in those corridors have wanted to move at the same pace as ARTA. And so most of those corridors are being built out to their ultimate construction configuration as we move forward. The board of directors for ARTA, I chair the board, and then we have 2 county commissioners that sit on the board, Steve O'Dorisio and Lynn Baca, and then 2 city council members make up the board as well. And currently it's Curtis Gardner and Steve Sundberg. And we appreciate the partnership that that all three entities share. It's been very successful and everyone, plays well in the sandbox together, I guess I would say. So, yes, I'm sorry. Oh, was that Steve?
Different haircut.
Yeah, yeah. To look at the ARTA boundary, I have it up here on the screen. So again, the current boundary of ARTA goes from 56th Street down to I-70. And then from Piccadilly Road over to Monahan. And that is the boundary that is contained within ARTA. We have 8 different property or 8 different developments that have opted into the ARTA model. We're currently constructing 2 interchanges. We're funding 3 interchanges. So there's the Piccadilly interchange that the city's leading that project. ARTA is a financial partner on that particular interchange. The one at I-70, which used to be Harvest, which is now Aerotropolis Parkway. ARTA is completely funding that interchange. We have funded and constructed an interchange on E-470 at 38th Avenue. And then we're also doing funding partner for the 48th interchange as well. And so the road network, I'll pull up here and just show you some of the roads. These are the projects that ARTA has authorization to construct and design and finance. They don't have the obligation, and we're always we drive that point home because again, the point was not to eliminate those responsibilities from the developers. And so we never say that we're obligated to build those, but we're authorized to build those because we still need that partnership from the other.
I was eating because I was running late to my 8:30 meeting with Roberta.
Hello. Thank you.
Thank you, Madam Chair. And so the roads that we currently are under construction or are in the planning stage, we'll start down on the south. So I already mentioned the I-70 Piccadilly interchange, and ARTA is contributing just over $20 million towards that interchange. The I-70, which you can follow with my cursor here, the I-70 interchange at Aerotropolis, and then Aerotropolis Parkway on up to 26th. And then the orange area is what's called a diversion diamond. And so that brings all of that road network together. And then it moves on to the north, and that's Aerotropolis. We just acquired the orange here, the right-of-way for this as a 6-lane right-of-way. And then that goes on up to 56. We're currently in discussions with property owners north of 56. And that will eventually connect all the way into Denver International Airport. Moving back down to the south here, 26th Avenue. So 26th Avenue from E-470 on over to Monahan and just slightly past Monahan. They'll probably go on to Hudson. Is it Hudson?
Get them confused.
I guess that's
They're further.
Yes.
Yeah.
And then this, I think is very important with the Piccadilly interchange, as well as with the improvements to 26. This is the realignment of 26th Avenue to 32nd. And if you've ever driven that, right now, 26 just comes into a T intersection at Piccadilly. And so you must take a right turn and then immediate left turn. Traffic stacks there. I think the council might have recently received a letter complaining about that intersection. We are in the process of, it's in design currently, and we'll be going to construction in the next year. And so that will eliminate that movement and align those 2 intersections together. And again, why that's critical is with the improvements of 26th Avenue, as well as with the improvements on Piccadilly and with the interchange, we expect increased traffic in that area. And so this will help with the flow of traffic. We'll move on up Piccadilly. So we have Piccadilly from 26 up to 56. So improvements of that roadway. 38th Avenue from E-470 over to Tower Road. And so I think there's a new project there. It's what is it? Food Bank of the Rockies.
Yes.
Currently right here. And so we'll be making that connection there. The city has had an IGA with the city of Denver regarding a bridge crossing, kind of where my cursor is now. ARDA is helping the city with the structure selection for that and helping to lead that project as well. Improvements on 48th Avenue go from E470 over to currently over to Aerotropolis, and then we'll go on over to Monahan as well. We're currently working on a slight deviation about 600 feet to the north, moving that road to the north to accommodate a high school location, and we're working with the school at that corner up there. And then improvements to Monahan as well. And so you see that. And the green line, I'm sorry, I was on the wrong line. The green line is that realignment of 48th Avenue. So you can see it just slightly moves up again to accommodate a contiguous high school site for Aurora Public Schools. So those are the projects that we currently have. Just going to kind of give you a quick update of where each of those projects are. So 48th Avenue from E470 to Powhatan is currently under construction. 38th Avenue from Himalaya to E470, we're in the contracting stages of that currently. The Aurora Highlands Parkway from E470 to 38th, that section is completed. The Aerotropolis Parkway from 38th to Powhatan, the civil plans are currently at 95%. And so we'll continue to move that project forward. The 26th Avenue from E470 to Main Street, that's completed. 26 from Main to Harvest, again, 95% and 95% from Harvest to Powhatan on that road alignment as well. Improvements to Powhatan Road are currently at 95%. We are in design, we're soliciting design for 48 to 56 currently. The E470 38th interchange is complete, and the I-70 interchange is currently under construction. We'll see construction of that hopefully in the next month down at I-70. Piccadilly interchange, I think we're all excited about that one. That one is a city-led project again, and that's currently under construction. And then the improvements on 38th are both complete and continuing to advance those. Just some fun facts, because I think fun facts are always fun. That's why we call them fun fact, right? So with the road network that I just showed you, ARDA is constructing what would be the equivalent of one lane from this building to Vail. So that's the amount of infrastructure that's being currently put in. That would be enough to pave 121 football fields, 10 inches thick. And then for our parks are around, they'll love this one too, but sidewalks, but we're paving sidewalks. If you took the 220 miles of sidewalks that we're building, we could start at this building, build a 10-foot walk from here to the Utah border. So a lot of construction going on out there. It's great to have both the city of Aurora, the Metropolitan District, and Adams County, all those partners there. The funding sources, I think I kind of skipped over that for that that area. Oh, it said I can't do that fast. Within the boundaries, so all the use tax and fees from new construction go into ARDA's funding, as well as 50% of the property tax from Adams County. And then there's 5 additional mills that ARDA puts onto all the property within that district. And then each of the districts within the boundaries also Gallagherize the ARI because ARDA does not have that ability. So they backfill the ARI to make sure that the 5 mills stays relevant to when it started. So happy to answer questions. I know that was a lot of information, but I know that the chair asked that we'd be quick, so hopefully.
Oh, blame it on me. Councilmember Lawson, any questions?
Yes, I have a couple questions. Thank you so much for the presentation. It's great to see how this has developed. When I first remember when this came to council, I'm just going to give the 3 questions I would like to get answered. You mentioned that there's some funding challenges, so I kind of want to know what those funding challenges are. Is it coming from the federal? Is it just just in general. So let me just list the three questions.
Okay.
You gave the timelines kind of how, what things are in construction on all of these roads, these interchanges. What's the predicted or approximate real big timeline that they would all be completed? And then my last question is, who's going to be responsible for the maintenance of these interchanges? Is it going to be the city of Aurora? Is it within the district? So those are my three questions. And I just wanted to put them all out instead of just saying, can I speak, can I speak, can I speak? So.
Let me make sure I got it right. So the funding question, I got the maintenance. The second question was timelines. Okay.
Yeah, the basic approximate timeline for all of this to be completed. Is it 2030? Is it 2035? Is it maybe 2028? I just wanted to see an approximate time frame. I know things are in different construction phases based on what you provided on the chart, but just kind of giving an ultimate timeline or approximate for all of these interchanges to be done and completed.
Yes, thank you, Councilwoman Lawson, for those questions. Starting with the funding, my reference to the funding was that when the capacity lanes in the future would be required based off of traffic counts, historically, local government just has not had the funding in place to be able to add those additional lanes. And so that's what's caused it. So the funding that ARDA does not have those challenges because we are constructing the capacity lanes, if you will, the regional component of each of those roads on the front end. And so we're planning for the future and for the capacity of the traffic there as we continue to move forward. I think it's why it's such a great model, and ARDA has been so successful is we've been able to advance these projects that otherwise wouldn't be able to be advanced. I know that Councilwoman Lawson was back was on the council at the time when we were forming ARDA. You know, it was interesting because there was the needs study, and we all know the needs study, which identified all of these this road network. And the thing that the needs study said is, and the thing that the Eritropoulos study also said is that there was a lack of funding to be able to provide these transportation corridors. And that's when ARDA was formed, to really step into that role, to design, construct, and finance this critical infrastructure to be able to open up these important commerce corridors. And so from a funding standpoint, I think that ARDA continues to be very on solid ground. We continue to expand our borders because of its success. I know that back in 2016, 2017, and 2018, when we were all working on this, there was reluctant, developers to want to be a part of it. They just didn't believe it would happen. They said, government's going to come in, they're going to form this district or this authority, and the roads will never get built. And then as those roads started to be designed and constructed, there was an awakening out there, I think, where developers said, hey, it really does work, and you really are, doing everything that you said. And so they've continued to want to add their properties into the borders of ARDA, which has really helped to be able to expand a couple of things. One is, and I'm going to kind of go into the maintenance side before I get into the timing, is that what we recognized early on our second inclusions, so we've gone through 3 rounds of inclusions, that's adding additional land to the boundary of ARDA. What we found is that we were creating and building extraordinary infrastructure, right? Things that the city would not normally have been able to construct. So when we look at I-70 interchange, when we look at the E-470 interchanges, when we look at the DDI at 26, these were big projects. And looking at the maintenance funding that the city had, we thought we could come up with another model as we added more property. And so really working with Deputy City Manager and the city manager, but Laura Perry really kind of helped lead that in how do we create a replacement fund to be able to look at when would we need maintenance in the future. We can't really call it a maintenance because of how we collect our funds, but it is repair and replacement, and we're able to do that because those are capital expenses. And so we've really started to, as we've created expanding our boundaries, we've captured some funding for 2 things which are critical to the city's infrastructure. The first is the repair and replacement of that critical infrastructure that's beyond what the city normally would have constructed. And then we also identified gaps in the system. So we may have had a road that went from E470 to Harvest, but there might have been a section where there's not a development, right? So there's no one on the hook, so to speak, to construct that section of road. And so we saw gaps in the infrastructure. And so the other portion that Laura's worked really well with us on is to identify those gaps in the system and make sure that we had funding so that the corridors were not a patch quilt of construction, that we were able to make all of those connections from A to B. So I think that one, the funding is on very strong ground. Two, we are looking at the extraordinary maintenance. Now, this isn't the normal potholes and of the normal roads. The city will maintain those, but this extraordinary interchanges, bridge structures, the big components of what ART is constructing, we are establishing funding for that well into the future for the next 50 to 75 years. So we are very forward thinking from ART's standpoint on how do we continue to partner and not just turn over infrastructure to the city that it would be unable to maintain. So it's a sustainable plan is what we have here. As far as timing, ARTA does have a plan of finance as well as a timeline for construction. I think our latest project ends in, current projects end in 2037. But things are getting advanced much faster than that. One of the agreements that we have when we do our inclusions with those different developments is we allow for, what we didn't want to do, I guess you should say that, what we did not want to happen is for ARTA's timeline to hold back jobs, job creation, economic development. We didn't want it to be that where we said, well, we're not going to put that road in until 2039, you know, and they would say, well, we're ready to build this employer today. So what our agreements say with the properties that are included is that they can come to ARTA and ask for those projects to be advanced. Now, ARTA can't necessarily advance those projects because our plan of finance, if we front end loaded everything, we wouldn't have enough financing to be able to get to the end of all of our projects. So what we allow to happen is ARTA has the ability to, one, say, we'll design it. And we always try to design, if we can, working with our partners at the city, with Haley and others, to make sure that we are meeting all the needs of the city. But by controlling the design, we also control the end cost. If we can't control design, we can't control cost. And so it's hard to find cost savings at the construction stage. It's easier to find those when you're planning it, right? And so what we do with each of those developments is we say, you can come to us and say, I'd like you to advance this section of 48th Avenue, for instance. And ARTA can say, yes, we'll go ahead and design that. We're not ready to construct it. Then the property owners through their districts could advance that project ahead of what ARTA would do. And we repay that on ARTA's schedule at zero interest. So that way our financial model is not impacted, because when we pay back those funds for the construction, we get today's dollars. So we save money on construction, but we also don't pay for the interest carry, which would again kind of break our plan of finance and not be able to get to all of our projects. And so those are the ways that we're advancing those projects. So currently, to answer your question again, a long way, is that the timeline goes out to about 37 for the last completion of projects. We expect that that's going to happen sooner. Another fun fact that I didn't mention is our current financial projections show that I think it's in about between 2027 and 2029, ARTA will be in a position where we will be able to cash flow most of our projects without having to go to the market for financing. And that's critical, because that's, again, going to allow us to put projects on the ground faster and cheaper by not having that interest carry.
I love hearing that. Faster and cheaper. We like fast and
Yes,
cheap.
fast and cheap.
But good.
But
Fast, cheap, and good.
Yes,
Good.
good. Yes, Madam.
That's amazing. That's very good, because I wondered how we secured, did we require the businesses and people that are along these corridors to pay the money back to you, and where does that money come from? That helps me understand it a little bit better, since I'm coming in on
You know, and-
Something's already established.
And if I could, I'll follow up on that just a little bit. So yes, if we were building a corridor and like 48th Avenue, we'll take that as an example because that's currently getting ready to kick off. The stormwater protections are in place. Grading begins at the end of this week, beginning of next week. They'll start the utility work in that corridor. But we have ARTA's component of 48th Avenue. We have the Windler portion of that. We have Opus, which also has the Project Waterfalls part of that as well. And so we have different property owners and districts that are a party of that construction. All of it's being constructed, and then the Aurora Highlands to the south. And so each of them are paying their proportionate share. ARTA constructs it, and then we bill each of those entities on a quarterly basis to recoup their proportionate share of those projects. So again, development is still carrying its own water in what it would have been responsible under their public improvement plans that they signed with the city. But ARTA is advancing those projects and making sure that the regional component of the road is being completed today and not burdening the city with that in the future when it may or may not have funds.
Thank you. That's quite thorough. And I appreciate that because that helps me understand what's going on, which is really great. Councilmember Lawson, do you have anything? Did that answer your questions there?
Yes, that answered my questions. Thank you so much.
Oh, you're very welcome.
Thank you.
No, just asking when we're gonna see that project on Gun Club area.
What Gun Club?
Gun Club is a long
Yeah,
stretch,
it's a long
so we've
stretch.
got multiple efforts that we're working through for Gun Club.
Trust and believe it will come up on the agenda. It's coming. It's coming. I appreciate the presentation. Thank you so much.
Thank
It's
you.
very thorough and helps me understand where we're at and how we're
And I'm
doing.
always available to any of you at any time.
And it's
so,
very-
happy to.
Thank you so much. I mean, considering how these projects are running, you're kind of running at light speed by comparison, right?
We are.
I mean, when you think about how city projects kind of grind on, I mean, you're really going like at warp speed.
We are. The total investment of the projects that you see on the screen there, and this includes the development portion as well as the ARTA portion, is just around $1 billion worth of infrastructure. So again, this is tremendous. I don't know of any other city in the state of Colorado or probably in most of the country that can say they're investing $1 billion worth of infrastructure to help create jobs
Yes.
and support that.
Yes, but to as I always like to say, Aurora, it needs to be the gold standard. And what we do in terms of infrastructure, building opportunities for business, and really being the example of how a city should do things well. So this is a great kudos to everyone engaged in creating ARTA and making it happen. I mean, this is the example of what I like to see, where we say we're doing this and we actually do it. We're not just flapping our gums. We're actually doing it. So I'm just very excited about that. So is that it? Complete? I want to make sure that we have everything fantastic. Thank you so much. I truly appreciate your efforts and everything that's happening here. Next is our resolution for the IGA with CDOT. Where is Carly Campazano today?
On a well-deserved time away.
But she gets to go places? I mean, she has a life outside of this.
No, hard to believe. It's very
Hard to believe.
Very fortunate to have her today, but
And
I'll
so
be
you
presenting
have,
for
you
you
will
also.
be presenting today and then Miss Cynthia. Okay, thank you so much.
No problem. And Carla and I did touch base on this project, so hopefully I'll be able to answer any questions you might have. Okay, so this is an IGA between the City of Aurora and CDOT for the Fuel Impact Reduction Grant. And I'm Kathy Valencia, the Transportation Project Delivery Manager.
Thank you, Kat.
Thank you. All right, so this is the location of the gas facility at Chambers and Smith that we are receiving this grant for. This grant is administered through the state of Colorado. The purpose of the funding is to improve hazardous mitigation corridors in the recipient's jurisdiction. And projects include transportation infrastructure improvements. And I talked to Carly about what some of those improvements might be. So some of the things we might consider would be considering the feasibility of a grade separationist within Chambers. RTD is managing a study right now looking at new hazmat routes. So that's something that might come out of that study would be maybe signal changes to provide left turn phases, curb radii changes, minor changes to the I-70 interchange. So those are just some examples of some of the projects that could come from this funding. And then also we are currently working on a Smith corridor study in design right now that will be recommending improvements. We don't have construction funding, so we could use some of this funding to potentially construct some of those improvements. So here are the funding details. The state distributes 10 million annually from an enterprise they created as part of the grant program. The city of Aurora distributes 20% of the state's fuel, so therefore we receive 20% of the revenue. So Aurora will receive $2 million per year over 5 years for a total of 10 million. So a little bit on the eligible areas that we were able to use this funding for. They have to be transportation related near the facility at Smith and Chambers. Some of the hazardous mitigation corridors that we can use the funding for would be Smith Road, Tower Road, Airport Boulevard, and Chambers Road. And once we get the project kickoff, we'll meet with CDOT and CDOT will approve those projects. So we can't just use the funding wherever we want to.
Oh,
Unfortunately.
yeah. There's a bridge. Okay, you know, right.
I know, bummer. And then funds must be prioritized or encumbered by January of 2030. Easy peasy. So the question for the committee, does the committee support moving forward the resolution for the IGA between the city and CDOT for fuels impact reduction grant program to the next available study session?
I thank you for pinching me.
You're
So
welcome.
appreciate you
You're
guys. Teamwork makes the dream work when we let Carly have so much needed time off. With that said, Councilmember Lawson, do you have any questions or comments?
No, I have no questions and I approve it moving forward to study session.
Fantastic. Councilmember Kassaw. All right, then it's so moved. We will move forward to the next study session. I always like us getting a little change coming back, you know, and there, share the money because, you know, we can always use it. So yes. Oh, with that's two things we are, well, look at yonder. We are moving and grooving. I love it so much. Do we have any miscellaneous matters for consideration? Anything, Councilmember Lawson, that you have that you
None
want
for me.
this time? Councilmember Kassaw. Nothing for you as well. All right, anticipated topics for next back channel session.
Yes. So at the July meeting, we will be bringing forward a presentation on the first phase of our ADA transition plan, which is focused on the public right of way. So we will be sharing the draft results of that, and per requirements from our Department of Justice, we are required to have a public hearing and whatnot, but we want to bring it here first to brief you all on the
Okay.
results of that and discuss next steps, what that looks like. So that will be at our July 18th.
July 18th meeting. Okay, and that's our big one then.
That will be a big one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay, well, we'll be prepared for that on July 18th. That is our confirmed next meeting. Wow, we just went right through things today. Thank you so much. I appreciate your time and attention. And I'm gonna give you, what? Was there something else?
18th or 17th?
Oh, was my,
Was it 17th or the 18th? Am I looking at the wrong sheet? I just checked. Let me know. July
Tracy's correct. My date was off.
17th, sorry.
Thank you, Tracy.
Thank you, Tracy, for keeping us on task. Next meeting is July 17th, right here, same back time, same back channel. And with that said, I will give you 27 minutes back to your day. Thank you so much. This meeting is adjourned.
Thank you.